Welcome to Pride Against Prejudice, a Shadowrun 4th edition actual play podcast.
Hi, I'm Simon and I'm playing Huggy Bear.
Hi, I'm Al and I'll be playing Maverick.
Hi, I'm Jack and I play Toyger.
Hi, I'm Michael and I'll be playing Sunshine.
And my name is Rhydian, I'm the GM. If you would like any bonus content, a link to our living campaign map can be found in the show notes, along with a link to our Discord where you can get occasional bonus episodes, and if you'd like to add locations to the map or just ask us questions, you're welcome to join us there. If you stick about for a few seconds at the end of the episode, we also have a question for you as well. Following content may contain themes and materials not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Before we dive into the episode, here's some pay data on another one of the Shadowrun podcasts out there for you to listen to.
2081 has been a hell of a year for St. Louis, Missouri. An astral anomaly left a 2-mile radius around downtown a toxic hellscape, and the residents have been left to pick up the pieces, but the hits just keep on coming. At the center of it all are the Glitches, a shadowrunning team made up of Bianca the Face, aka Eris, Val the Technomancer, aka Binary, Joe the Muscle, aka Collateral, and Jet the Sneak Thief, aka, well, Jet. Some of us are better than others at sticking to a code name. The girls attempt to navigate the criminal elements of the St. Louis streets, all while looking out for themselves, each other, and the people they love.
If you want more of the Glitches, feel free to drop into the Gamers Table Discord or check us out on the socials at Resting Glitchface. You can find us on all major podcatchers or check out our Patreon. Thanks for listening.
The team have acquired a bomb and Mav is being taught how to use it. Now they set about scouting the location of their next run and how to gain access. Toyger summons a particularly difficult spirited man, and the team learn a bit more about Toyger's past. Today is currently the 10th. Mav is learning bomb making with Sally. The drug shipment comes in on the 12th. What are people wishing to do in the meantime whilst Mav is off bomb making? I will say, Mav, that you're not really able to participate in anything that's happening
That's fair.
on this day because you're busy going, so it's the blue wire and then the red wire. Oh god, no.
Class is in session, Maverick. The 10th of what? Sorry?
August
Thank you.
2072. It's a sunny day. It's nice.
So we've got 2 days before the big day for Maverick's debutante ball. This is going to be a pain in the bollocks. Or the ovaries in my case, but for you guys, the bollocks.
Excuse you?
I said you guys. The guys. Specifically the male members of the team. Well, not you. But this will be a pain in whatever sexual organs you happen to have. Go not talk aside. I'm going to spend a good bit of time going over the mechanics of the drones, making sure that the guns are, the gun mounts are properly oiled, maintained, making sure that all the cameras and all the programs are working, making sure that Grendel's mother has enough air in the tires, and, you know, I painted over the most recent bullet marks.
Are you doing any sort of recon with the drones or anything like that? Or are you just doing maintenance today?
I will send out Högen. How far can I send Högen?
Yeah, I mean, it's only 19-20 kilometers over there. So I'll say that it's easily able to get over there and back and do an overfly.
I will do a couple of overflies then.
Yeah. And I mean, there's enough drones about that it can blend in and all the rest of it.
Yeah, send it into one of the drone streams.
Yeah, I mean, there's thousands of package delivery drones flying all over the place. Are you remote controlling it? Is it operating on its own? How are you doing this?
I will send it off to operate on its own.
All right, I'll do this as an extended check because you're getting it to have a look over a period of time. So roll its perception and take a die away each time. When you run out of dice, just tell me your total.
Right, that's only 6 hits.
One of those was a crit glitch, so could Hugin please resist damage equal to its body as it clips another drone at one point?
3. So that's 3 hits on damage of 3.
Yeah, it just about manages to get itself under control after it clips an Ares Zon drone. The Ares Zon drone disappears deep into the noisome waters of New York Harbour. Yep, somebody's not getting that packet of screws. Oh well. So with 6 hits there, Huggy, you see a fair bit. You just about get your drone back, fortunately. There are quite a few drones kicking about inside the compound. They appear to be little ground crawlers, which are patrolling the perimeter.
And Toyger has pack bonded with this.
It has a little eye and ears, look!
The hedgehog is rather cute.
It does look like it would drive up to you and be like, ooh, what's this?
This is basically Wally.
Yeah.
And
Konnichiwa, Intruder Senpai.
we're not on that part of the Matrix, fortunately.
You're not.
Moving rapidly on. There's also you're also seeing a few security guards walking the perimeter who seem to have guns, but there aren't very many of them. There's like a couple at each entrance, but the rest of it seems to be drone patrolled.
Yeah.
And there's a couple hanging around the building as well, but you do also see some dock workers wandering up and down and looking very bored and doing dock worker things with unloading. There's also a lot of forklift drones going backwards and forwards.
Usable.
Like they are just everywhere.
Sunshine, could you take control of a bunch of forklift drones? Theoretically.
Do I look like a rigger?
Huggy, could you do it?
I mean, theoretically, yes.
I was just thinking you could maybe I don't know, there must be some event where, the drones are on the fritz again, quickly everyone assemble at the safety point, and then that gets all the innocents out of the way. That, or they can just sort of shepherd them like big orange sheepdogs.
I think you overestimate either my hacking ability or Sunshine's rigging ability.
Possibly both.
It's worth considering, but I don't think we've got what we need to pull it off.
If we were better at everything, then that would be quite a good idea. Unfortunately, we are not good enough to pull it off, I don't think.
Okie dokie.
What we do know, though, is that on regular nights, or regular days, they don't have that many armed security, which is nice.
This is 2 days before major shipments. Do you think they maybe have upped the security a little bit?
They've probably got up security inside the building.
That's what I was thinking.
What you're seeing from the outside, there's not a huge amount, but there are a lot. There's ships constantly coming and going from this place, loading, unloading. It's a busy commercial dock.
Do we know where on this building the tunnel, the access is?
You did get that information session before last. It is in the bottom right corner of the building, in the bottom right corner of a machine shop. So from the information you got, it's essentially a maintenance room for drones.
Right.
Where they take the forklifts, the one that's got the dicky wheel, and they fix it, or the lift is getting stuck halfway and making a horrible grinding noise. They take it in there and fix it.
So, an idea that I've just had.
Mm-hmm.
If Sunshine can get somebody a pass as a random machine tech. Then we get them, probably Mav, as the person who's most equipped to go solo. We get them inside by giving them a badge. So they are machine tech, they come over with messed up drone, go, I'm taking this to the machine shop, wander in. If that can get him inside, then he can open the door for the rest of us.
And plan.
It's not that far from the road to the warehouse. We can probably cross that fairly quickly if we need to. Can use illusions to distract the security guards if need be. Have some tentacle thing attack one of the ships, something like that.
I was thinking fire, but I like where this is going. You had me at tentacles.
That distracts the security. We run in, or in my case, I run the drones in. We get into the tunnel, find where they're holding the drugs, murder whoever's protecting them, set up the explosives, get the fuck out.
Bish bash bosh.
This, of course, assumes that everything is going exactly to plan, which it never does. But this is a plan, based on what we know.
I have no reason why that plan should not succeed, and I have no better plan.
The real plan is who goes into the tunnel with Mav.
Is there any reason we're not taking the whole team?
Well, I'm probably staying in the van.
Okay. Well,
unless you think you want me in there with you. I'm a better rigger when I'm in the van. I've got the cocoon.
Okay, you rig.
I can.
I'll go.
Give me a logic roll, just straight logic, please, Huggy.
Some kind of matrix knowledge skill, maybe? I think I know what you're going for.
That's a 2.
2. So you know you're going in the tunnel. What's your exit strategy?
We go out the tunnel.
Bomb it behind us, then fight our way out of whatever's at the other end.
I mean, we already know, we already think that it's going to be a struggle to get out of the other end of this. So the best way to do this, I think, is to just come back out the way we came in, with cover from the light machine guns on Grendel and her mother. It's not the best plan in the world.
It sounds like we should probably get Mav in on this conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so if you want a time jump to... Before we do the time jump, is there any other legwork that you are wanting to do during the day on this place before you pick up Mav? Just to keep our timeline straight.
It's legwork adjacent, and I'm better doing it now than any other time. I got that chunk of wood from a pier nearby.
Yeah.
Summon the spirit of man and see if it knows anything.
Okay, you were wanting to do that. Thank you for reminding me. What force of spirit is it?
The reagents I have are 5. I've already deleted them off my character sheet. So they were force 5. I need 5 arrows in my flat.
Okay, so roll me your summoning check.
5 hits.
You have 4 net. Please resist 2 drain. Apparently the reagents made it so much easier.
6 hits.
You're absolutely fine. A spirit of man that looks a bit like an old-timey dock worker appears.
I'm also going to bind it because I will intend to use it later. And get 3 hits.
Alright, so on your binding, the spirit actually gets 2 net hits, so it resists your binding attempt. Could you please resist 10 stun?
4 hits, so 6 hits of stun.
Yep. So you don't manage to bind it. This dock worker, it's happy to come and do something short term, but you're just getting a sense through the spirit link of nah, pal.
He ain't doing any overtime this week.
Yeah, he ain't doing overtime.
Unhelpful. So have I got 1 hit, 1 service from it?
You still keep your original services. The sense you're getting through the spirit link is overtime. Gonna have to discuss that with the union.
I don't think you get a union on account of you being a manifestation of the zeitgeist of a dock worker, but hey-ho. What do I know?
He gets the manifestation of the zeitgeist of a union.
Oh god, that sounds terrifying.
You see why you shouldn't mess with the unionized workers.
Well, how many services do I get from that? I was distracted.
You get your original services, which was 4.
Okay, so this old-timey dock worker is like his beard and his hair, they're either white with age or white with salt. Difficult to tell. His coat seems to be made out of seal leather, and he's missing an eye, and in place of an eye patch he has like a little horseshoe crab that's just sort of sitting there waving its telson every now and then. It'll occasionally like scuttle into the eye socket and then come back out, but...
That's dope.
Cool. And deeply disturbing. Please continue.
Right, so I've been knocked flat on my ass by this stun.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna take a minute to have a nap and sleep that off before I start asking this thing anything.
Oh no, Toyger's doing healing rolls again.
Oh shit. By this point, presumably Mav and Huggy will both be free, and we can articulate what questions we're going to ask of this thing, because based on the whack it gave me for summoning it, it's probably going to interpret each service as a question. Each question as a service.
That's pretty standard if you're asking spirits questions.
Okay, so I'm going to have a nap. How do I roll to unstun myself?
So how many hours are you napping for?
So it's... afternoon on the 10th, did you say?
Yeah.
Nap until about 8 o'clock at night.
So call it 3-4 hours then. Call it 4 hours. So give me 4 body plus willpower rolls, please.
1.
Okay.
2. 3.
So in 3 hours, you've healed your 6 stun.
Super.
Yep. Body plus willpower is not too bad for Toyger.
Yeah, Toyger's pretty strong-willed. It occurs to me I didn't give the spirit any instructions. We're probably still just sitting there, smoking its pipe.
When you come round from your nap, you find that it's sat down at your... Well, it's not really a kitchen table. It's more of a stool next to the counter. And it does indeed have a pipe in its mouth. It's also made itself a sandwich.
Real meat. That was expensive.
What you're getting through the spirit link is, yeah, it's good.
Spirits that old is probably used to eating real meat.
I gave you water from the Rio Clara, and this is how you repay me?
It just shrugs and says, could do with mustard.
There is mustard. It's in that cupboard.
Yeah, but it's that French crap.
Yes, it went out of date in the 2030s as well. What's your point?
That it's not good mustard?
Why do you care about good mustard? You don't even have a tongue.
I could still taste.
I'm pretty sure I saw something nibbling on it.
And? It's spicy.
Do you want more nibbling on your tongue or less nibbling on your tongue? Also, where did your horseshoe crab go? It was on your face a minute ago, and I don't know where it is. I don't like the thought of it scuttling up my trouser leg and biting me.
It just shrugs and goes back to eating the sandwich.
If I start finding poisonous snails in this flat, you and I are going to have words.
It's now just ignoring you until you ask it to do something.
Right, fine. So I sort of get out the comlink and send a message to the group chat, when are we all gathering here to discuss planning and plotting? P.S. Have a new roommate, he's a dick.
Mav, you've probably just about finished up with Sally Boom Boom. You've had a lot of safety instructions drilled into you today. Things like always make sure you run your finger along the thread when you're making a pipe bomb, because otherwise when you screw it on, you'll blow yourself up.
Duly noted. Mav messages Toyger back. I'm done learning what not to blow up. On my way?
We'll start boiling water for tea. Was going to make ham sandwiches, but roommate just used all the ham. Sad face.
Yeah, the fraggers had your good pastrami as well.
You dick! I'm banishing you somewhere awful when we're finished.
It just shrugs
I'm sending you to the litter box of Cat's realm. Is Huggy coming over as well?
Yeah, she will, as if she's made a vow. Oh yeah, you just said you sent out a group chat. Yeah, Huggy will head over.
Are you picking up the others and then going over, Huggy?
Yeah, I was the other one picked up.
Cool. Could everybody who's going into the building roll edge for me?
So Rick the Hobo is basically this building's superintendent, yeah?
I don't know if you could call it superintendent.
Mild to moderate intendant.
He's attending something. Christ knows what it is. Usually it's a bottle.
The way I worked it out is that, like, Mrs. Kibiota is meant to be, like, she's allegedly Toyger's landlady, and she's turned the 6th floor into, like, palatial suites. Like, she's knocked rooms together. One of them's been converted into a bathhouse, another one's a shrine. Literally every other room in that building is, like, a Toyger level tip. So you go to the 6th floor, and it's like, oh, this is actually really nice. And then you enter a room on the 5th floor, and it's like, why can I see through the walls to my neighbors?
Right, so Edge, I got 2 hits.
1 hit with a glitch.
No hits with a critical glitch.
Spicy.
So as you're walking into the building, is it raining? You look around. No, it's not raining. You look up. Huggy fortunately got in the building just before this started. You look up and you just see Rick peeing out of a 7th floor window.
Oh.
Oh, lovely. Old hobo golden shower.
The rest of the way up to Toyger's just passes without incident. The guy who shakes people down in the hallway just kind of glances. He sees movement, reaches towards the small of his back for the pistol, sees you three, and then just goes, it's you, for frack's sake. And then sits down again and goes back to watching something in AR.
I give him a grin.
He just ignores you. Yeah, you arrive up at Toyger's. There appears to be a weird old-timey dock worker sat eating a sandwich in his kitchenette. And what the hell's Toyger doing when they arrive?
The Toyger's just sort of sitting in the middle of the floor. Like, he's got, like, the candles laid out as constellations, and he's got, like, the wreckage of the summoning scattered about, which is... It looks like he's got, like, he started tidying it up and then lost the will to live and just been sitting on the floor for an hour and a half. But he looks up as, like, the three of them walk in and says, why do you three have looks on your faces like you've just been pissed on from on high?
Well, funny story.
It's not that funny. I'm going to use your shower.
Taking your life in your hands?
Yeah, me too.
Together? Alright, you two take your life in your hands. Team, this is Captain Twat-hab. Captain Twat-hab, this is the team.
Hello.
He just raises a hand and munches on the sandwich. Whichever of you decides to get in the shower first, you turn it on, and there's about 5 minutes of pipes just banging and clanking, and then it judders to life and it sprays brown water for about 30 seconds before it starts running clear.
Mav was not standing under the shower waiting for this.
Yeah, Sunshine's looking at this whole situation going like, First off, memories. Secondly, Toyger, have you done a Legionella test on your water system?
Not recently.
Yeah, it passed with flying colors.
How?
Yeah, so it used to be a lot clearer, but then Mrs. K converted like 4 of the rooms on floor 6 into like a full-on Japanese-style onsen with like hot tubs and steam rooms and like a swimming bath, and the water's never flowed right since. I just go downstairs and borrow that when I need a wash.
Sunshine, while you're looking at this, you're also a little bit concerned because it's like an electric shower where there's a slot to insert your cred stick, so you get 2 new yen for every 5 minutes, but somebody's hot-wired it and there's a couple of wires hanging out of it.
Toyger?
Yes?
I'm not completely convinced that the plumbing and electrics in your flat is OSHA compliant.
I mean,
What the hell's OSHA?
I made it for me.
I don't know, it's this thing my mum used to talk about. Like, when you see things that are sketchy,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know, it's something my mum used to say.
I don't know what an OSHA is, but Mrs. K's youngest girlfriend's friend did it for me, and she said it was great.
Huggy at this point is looking up what OSHA is.
I'm just saying, Summer. I'm not sure you should have this much exposed electrical tape next to water.
The electrical tape's waterproof, isn't it?
Not really.
Oh.
I think.
I mean, I've yet to be electroshocked, but as I said, I don't really use it. I go to, like, the fancy bathhouse downstairs.
Bathhouse
The occupational
downstairs.
safety.
Is
Yeah.
that what they're...
What the hell is? When did they start using? When did they use this? Was this like the
I think it's a fifth world thing. I don't know. It's one of those weird things my mum used to say. Like, what was the other one? Live long and prosper? What the frag does that even mean? I don't know. It's some...
Sounds Chinese.
Is that from that weird Fifth World show where you've got the elf in space for some reason?
No, that's May the Force be with you.
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Old sci-fi stuff.
To be fair, they're probably on to episode 112 by now, so...
Yeah, the reboots of the pre-boots of the new boots of the old boots of the second boots, like
That are all coming out straight to VHS.
they're what ruined the franchise.
The one... You mean the boots that wore through the soles?
The boots that started talking to us then walked off on their own, yes.
Alright, so two of you shower in a fairly sketchy shower.
Rav doesn't shower, he just washes his hair and his coat.
Yep, fair. And find yourselves back in the living room. There's still this random old sailor dude sat eating. He just occasionally goes to the fridge and just takes something random out.
I will at this point have started to make myself a sandwich as well.
He passes you the butter.
Oh, I thank him.
Real butter from a real cow.
Oh, but this is... Oh, no, I can't. Sorry, lactose intolerant. Can't eat it.
He just shrugs.
Like, Toyger goes over to the kitchen and takes he takes a bunch of stuff out the fridge, which he then holds. It's like, this is the stuff I'm not losing. Some of it's food. Some of it appears to be like eyeballs in jars or mysterious fluids, and the really worrying stuff is the stuff that just looks like water.
Huggy will turn to the miner and ask if he knows where the mustard is.
He just points with the butter knife to a cupboard.
Thanks.
It's French and it went out of date 40 years ago.
Well, so did France, so let's see what it tastes like.
It's not bad. You don't think you could have ever before described mustard as musty, but that's the only word that comes to mind.
Yeah, well, I've not had real mustard before, so this is an experience.
I'm starting to wonder if I should make Toyger increase his lifestyle costs. Just you lot come round regularly and eat the poor little bugger out of house and home.
Guys, into like a luxury break. For me, it's not dying of soy farts. Also, Huggy, stop encouraging Captain Twat-hab. He can have another sandwich when he tells me where his horseshoe crab went. Also, you might want to tuck your trousers into your socks, guys.
He holds up 4 fingers, points to the sofa, and puts one of them down.
Shit. Right, so in case it wasn't...
You just use a service on that.
That was not the best service you ever used.
So you knew that this was not in fact a random human I captured at the dock and dragged back here. You knew it was a spirit I went to enormous effort to summon and gave myself a migraine.
It's blatantly obvious, Toyger.
I don't...
Toyger, it has seaweed for hair and a sea louse as its tongue. It's fairly obvious.
Looks all floaty and spirity.
So I'm going to rationalize this as like Toyger spends so much time around spirits that he no longer sees them as weird and he forgets that other people might do. He's like, well, yeah, I mean, I know that like some of his fingers are like crab legs, but he has been shedding small crustaceans that look venomous.
It's the thumbs that look like crab pincers that are mildly disconcerting.
Yeah, he's using it to like apply pickles to his sandwich.
Yeah, they're really good for getting gherkins out the pickle jar.
Thing is, I don't think I want to use that pickle jar anymore.
In that case, I'll take some of them.
I was going to give them to Rick.
I hold up the sandwich.
He hands you a pickle with his crab pincer thumb.
I'll take it and put it on the sandwich. So, anyway, why did you call us here? I'm assuming it was not to have a sandwich party with a spirit.
With Captain Twat-hab. So, the reason I called you here is, I'm guessing you've all done your research and your snooping and your sleuthing. My thinking was we could pool our knowledge and come up with... It was going to be 4 or fewer questions, now it's 3 or fewer questions to pose to Captain Twat-hab to see if he has answers. Like, he's not got a heart, he's got a chunk of wood from the old pier. I get the vibe he's connected to it, he might know something.
Well, I mean, if anybody's going to, it's probably going to be him.
I mean, surely the first obvious question is, do you know about the tunnel below the maintenance building in the south corner of Pier 8? Pier 7? The pier.
Pier 7.
Pier 7. And if so, do you know where it goes? Where the other end of it is?
He's Force 5, yeah?
Yep. And that's...
Mav can't ask this question. Toyger has to do it, or tell it to listen to Mav.
Or point at Mav and say what he said.
The rest of you can interfere before this point.
Those 2 questions. Provide me with answers, if you would.
That was 1 question.
Oh, it's going to interpret it as 2. It's a dick.
It reaches into the pickle jar with its crab pincer thumb, and it sits there munching on the pickle contemplatively. And just, Mav, all you see is just a sort of pensive nod. Toyger, you're getting flashes of images of a tunnel with a steam train in the dark, and it bursting out into daylight, and a massively crowded pier with people pouring out of the train and going onto a ferry to go across to Manhattan. And you get a rough idea of where it used to exit at the other end. I would need to look it up because I can't remember off the top of my head.
So while you're looking that up, like Toyger just sort of like starts frantically pointing at like the other 3, like somebody get me a map of New York. Quick, before it goes out my head.
Mav pulls one up in AR and shares it with Toyger.
Toyger doesn't even he's not even physically looking at the map, his finger just points at the exact place where it comes out. It's like, back when the subway ran on steam, that's where it came out.
So through the spirit link, you actually get the original name of the tunnel, the Cobble Hill Tunnel. This is genuinely lost in our world. We don't actually know where it is right now. It went to the bottom end of Atlantic Avenue. In our world, it was rediscovered in 1980 by a guy. He used to run tours into it, but this got shut down because the way he was taking people in was he was taking a manhole cover off in the middle of the street and then taking people down there. Like, he knows how to get down there, but it's not well publicized, so there's a couple of people that know, but other than that, not really.
I'm on the wiki page at the moment. In March 1916, the Bureau of Investigation, this is before it was the Federal Bureau of Investigation, suspected German terrorists were making bombs in the tunnel and broke through the roof of the tunnel with jackhammers. They found nothing, installed an electric light and resealed it.
In the 1920s, it was used for both mushroom and whiskey stills.
Please tell me all of those things are still there, including the light.
There's thought to be an entire steam train down there.
This is wonderful. I can't wait to explore it. Toyger's pointed this out and his fingers trace the area. I'm hoping that Sunshine and Huggy have both googled the Cobble Hill Tunnel, and that little interchange that we just had was them saying this. Because that sounds amazing and I want to explore it is both a Jack thing and a Toyger thing.
I was looking into this. There's genuinely shitloads of the things under New York. And nobody knows where the hell they are.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, they've lost stations. They've lost all sorts of stuff under there. As Michael said in a previous session, New York is mostly built on New York.
Much like Edinburgh.
So from what the spirit is telling you, you realise that the original tunnel ran out to Broadway Junction in East New York, which in the 2072 is an A-class residential area, following the route of Atlantic Avenue.
There is in fact a train depot there, which I assume has been flattened and turned into A-grade houses.
There's probably still a train station there, costs. Rail networks, they make money, yo.
True.
With that roll, Toyger, because the spirit actually got 6 hits on its memory check. You're also getting memories of long years of darkness and of a flash of a train, but it's bright and quiet and small.
Got an electric train running down there, guys. That's how they're getting the drugs moved so quickly. If we can get on that instead of the cargo, or if we get on that with the cargo and pretend to be guards, we could, get right in under their guns before we start causing havoc. At this point, I turn towards the spirit and say, I would say thank you, Captain Twat-hab, but you are a twat, so no. And turn back to the community.
It's now finished the last of the pickle jar. And after you say this, it just raises an eyebrow, picks up the empty jar, and just pours the vinegar out on your floor.
You think that's the worst thing that's been on that floor? You fool. You simpleton.
You're not doing a very good job of persuading it to give us more information.
It drops the jar. There's now just broken glass all over your kitchen floor.
Can I cast Levitate on the broken glass and put it in the bin?
Yeah, why the hell not?
Rolls down to Levitate. Submit. Let's cast it, force 5. 2 hits.
And roll me edge as well.
I've resisted the drain pretty well.
So you got 2 hits, you resisted your drain.
And I got a hit of edge.
So you get most of the glass and one of the lino squares.
I don't like the lino squares anyway. No reaction from the fact that Toyger snapped his fingers and half the floor picked itself up and put itself up in the bin.
He's a mage. He does weird shit.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a round of applause or oh, Toyger, that's so cool, how did you do that? But,
You're a mage, you do magic.
You've successfully replaced a brush and dustpan. Well done.
I nearly took my eye out learning that, guys.
Toyger, you use your awesome powers of the arcane to invite random hobos into your house to eat your food.
He's not a random hobo, and I did not invite him to eat my food.
Yeah, here he is.
In your house.
Food.
But he is not a random hobo.
You literally picked him up off the street.
He's a very specific hobo.
I did not pick him up off the street, I picked him up off the astral plane. There is a difference.
Yeah, the astral's much worse.
If you give me a minute, I'll even be able to articulate it to you.
So, while we are, sitting around looking at this ancient and mysterious being from another dimension, which is just giving us vast amounts of information, is there anything else we want to know? Do we want to ask about the train that it showed you?
What do they carry on the train? Where does it go?
I think where does it go is the best question.
So I know where it goes. It's giving me a map of the train line.
Does it go all the way to the far end of that?
Where exactly does the little train go would be a good question to ask if somebody writes that down. It's unlikely to know exactly what it's carrying unless it's magically active. And if it's drugs, it's likely just going to be an inert powder. It might be able to sense the greed or the desire of other people leeching onto it, but it's not going to tell us anything specific. I just turn and point at the spirit, and that was not a question, and that was not a question. That's very difficult not to bark instructions at this pain in the ass thing. I was kind of hoping that I would get something sort of friendly and intelligent and wise that would be willing to help us out, and he would answer our questions and then help us kick the shit out of these people. But alas, no, we get Captain Twat-hab.
He seems perfectly nice to me.
That's because he didn't kick the shit out of either of you the second he appeared in this one, though, did he?
Toyger, through the spirit link, you just get a sense of that's what you get from imposing unpaid overtime.
Toyger just stands up and screams and says, "What part of this overtime has been unpaid?"
You paid him?
He shrugs and says, "This isn't overtime."
Toyger,
Yes.
Can we all just take a moment to appreciate how incredibly corporate aristo you are, and how you're screaming at a working class spirit about overtime, and that maybe this isn't a great look.
Ooh. So this goes into a trait that Toyger has. So Toyger's thing is that he has big regret, and he is deeply disgusted and ashamed of his time as a high-class brat who screamed at the help.
Alright, so give me a composure check. I'm gonna say at a -3 because that jab from Sunshine was delivered like a needle.
Right to the personality trait.
So because you all know that Toyger was sort of upper class, he does have -3 against all what checks is it specifically? Social tests against all of you. Anyway, moving swiftly onwards. 2 hits.
Yeah, you completely failed that. You needed 3 hits. So do with that information as you will.
So you finish speaking, the blood just drains out Toyger's fist. He's been waving his arms while gesticulating, and he just sort of freezes and gets the 1,000-yard stare for a second, and then he crosses his arms and covers his mouth with his face, and starts tears welling up, and he starts shaking a little bit.
Toyger, are you okay?
The spirit shrugs and holds out an open packet of biscuits out towards you.
Toyger just sort of takes a biscuit but doesn't eat it, and he's fully just sort of crying now, and he sits down on the floor.
Toyger, what's up?
Bye. Biscuit now.
I look at the others, sort of you guys, what's happening?
I think I broke the shaman.
I'm not a monster.
Of course not. I mean, there's as much a monster as the rest of us.
I'm not a monster. And Toyger's just sort of sitting, eating his biscuit, he's in his own wee world now.
Oh!
You're unlikely to get anything out of him for a good wee while now.
Right, okay, so he broke...
Sad player noises for MP3.
Broke the shaman. Well done.
I didn't mean to, I'm just...
The spirit shrugs and he's just holding the packet of biscuits out to the rest of you.
Huggy will absent-mindedly take one, start eating it.
Yeah, Mav takes a biscuit.
Yeah, Sunshine takes one.
He puts it in his face as something that he knows how to do in this situation.
Sunshine's now just holding a biscuit, having something of an existential crisis of her own.
They're bourbons. They're not bad. Also, I don't know if Americans have those, but fuck it.
I do know.
At this point, the spirit is pretty much just manifesting food.
Oh no, he's just raiding Toyger's cupboards.
That's where manifest food comes from, right?
In this flat, yes.
Sunshine's now sat kind of at 90 degrees to Toyger, doing the I'm concerned about you, but I don't know how to help thing.
Huggy is just very confused because there doesn't seem to have been any Huggy doesn't understand the emotions of other people at the best of times. And Toyger's just gone from being Toyger to suddenly crying in the corner, and she really doesn't understand what just happened there.
Toy, do you want to talk about something?
Not particularly.
So, Mr. Spirit Guy,
His name's Captain Twat-hab.
do you know where the train goes to?
So he looks at Toyger, and through the spirit link, you're getting a sense of, is this woman talking for you? Do I answer her?
Like, so you just, like, Toyger just sort of imperceptibly nods to himself and, like, hugs his knees.
Spirit shrugs and holds up a hand with 2 fingers and puts one of them down. Toyger, you're getting images in your head of an old Victorian train station and the tunnel emerging there, but also of ladders in the dark leading up to old manholes and things like that. It's not exactly on a map, here be dragons, it's flashes of images and things like that. With your knowledge of New York and Queens, I'll just say that you're able to match up the building of the train station to the one in East New York, but it looks different, but the bones of the building are the same, if that makes sense.
I was going to suggest, like, when that image flashes into Toyger's head, he sort of just, like, gets up, and Toyger always kind of, like, just sort of struts everywhere. Like, he knows exactly where he is going, and if you happen to get in his way, that's a you problem. He sort of, like, scampers across the floor, like, shoulders hunched, head down, doing his best not to look at anyone. Goes onto the bed, pulls out a sketchbook, and just starts, like, drawing something. And maybe like 15-20 minutes later, he's produced a picture of like that Victorian train station, which you're able to like reverse Google image search or whatever the 6 photographs off there is, and you find out that it's the one in New York. It's there. It comes out there. There's ladders, there's up, there's manholes. I think that's how they sneak it out across the city, but I'm not sure. And spirit links are fuzzy. It only knows what it knows. Sorry. Back to huddling in the corner, not looking at anyone.
Sunshine is, like, sat on the bed next to Toyger, and again's going like, Toyger, come on, what's going on? Tell me.
I'm not that person, but I wasn't always not that person.
Ah.
Toyger's not that person, but Cecil is.
Your name is Cecil.
Your name is Cecil.
My name's
You
Toyger.
just told us your name.
My birth certificate is like 3 pages long, guys.
Jesus.
My name goes on for quite some time, but it ain't. How does it end again? Like, Toyger sort of goes on to bed and pulls out the birth certificate and flicks through it a bit.
You kept it, you lunatic!
What?
Wait, not only...
Why do you have... Wait, is that real paper?
Toyger, put that down before
Why do you
one
have...
of us accidentally films it.
It goes on for 3 or 4 pages, but it ends to Peralto the Third. Does anyone have any knowledge of like New York high society or like New York corporate stuff?
Oh god, no.
Because
You're lucky I know it English.
One of the other things is privileged family name.
Give me what would work as a general knowledge skill. Each of you give me a quick logic roll.
I mean, we can roll any knowledge skill we want at logic -1.
Yeah, just roll logic -1 then as a general knowledge check.
That's critical glitch.
1 hit.
Huggy, it just reminds you of some town in the arse end of Bavaria.
Oh yeah, they made really, really good sausage.
Yeah, there was a little microbrewery there. It wasn't bad.
I mean, there's little microbreweries literally everywhere, but no, that one was... I remember that one. The Weiss beer was amazing. The regular beer was shite, but the Weiss beer was actually not bad.
Mav and Sunshine, you vaguely recognise the name. You've heard it somewhere, but you just can't place it. You're like, it sounds like a thing I've heard of, but... I've also heard of a guy called Eddie Sanderson, so...
Dad owned the little brewery, sold it to one of the major Eurocorps, and indentured all the people working there and increased profits by 33% per annum. Toyger's sort of like mumbling this into his knees, which he is still hugging.
Huggy at this point is off onto the web, looking to see if that microbrewery is still selling.
They are, but all of the reviews are like, why are you selling Soywiser now? This tastes like pish.
Huggy starts swearing in German.
Yeah, Sunshine's going, Toyger, how posh were you?
My dad was senior secretary to the regional board of Wuxing West. My mum was head of marketing for the regional board of Wuxing West.
Holy shit.
You
They're selling
like a
Toywiser now? Really?
You're-
Really? Toywiser.
We have a diverse portfolio.
What the fuck is they doing?
Yeah, wait, you're like a corporate prince.
Sorry, what?
So when you say that, like Toyger just sort of like the eyes are peeking up over the knees, like the head just goes down, like
The spirit offers you another biscuit.
no reaction.
Toyger.
Wait, sorry, what were you talking about? I was sorry, I was somewhere else.
Okay, at this point I actually go over and start cuddling Toyger and be like, it's okay. I don't like my family either.
Your
Although,
family aren't monsters.
oh, you should have met my dad. He was a piece of work.
Huggy looks slightly embarrassed over at Mav and goes, my family are really quite nice. So they have a little farm and a little inn, which, you know, they have rooms above it. It's quite nice.
Then what the frag are you doing here?
Making money and blowing things up.
Can't you, go and make money doing farm stuff?
Mav rolls a composer check.
All right. Let's see your composure check there, Mav.
2 hits. Mav doesn't say something that'll make Toyger cry.
So, with 2 hits, you're not saying what you were about to say, which may or may not be for the best, but we'll never know.
It would be funny to needle Toyger. I'm not going to.
I mean, it would.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not really that much. I mean, I'm from the Troll Kingdom. I'm not going to rage against the machine of the Troll Kingdom because they're fairly troll-friendly. You might not have guessed, but, you know, come raise some shit in America.
So at this point you're not needling Toyger, you're needling Cecil.
I hate to break it to you, but Cecil is Toyger.
Let's be fair, with a name like that, Cecil deserves to be needled. So yeah, Toyger's a blubby mess on his living room floor.
Is there a, skill for, roll to comfort someone?
Negotiation?
Or etiquette, maybe?
Etiquette, yeah. I'd say etiquette.
Saying the right thing at the right time is definitely etiquette.
Yeah.
Oh, for frag's sake!
So,
Bad that I got 1 hit.
so it's going fairly well to begin with, you think, but after a while you're just getting the sense of this is just completely missing the mark. And Toyger, you're just looking at her. You're not as upset. You're mostly just confused at this point with, what the frag are you on about, woman?
Yeah, because I'm trying to do this from, the angle of having come at this from, a really working class, poor as shit family. And, I'm just absolutely not bridging the cultural divide here. I'm actually gonna just quickly roll Judge Intentions and see if I actually pick up on... Yeah, I figure out that 3 hits, I figure out that, Toyger's not getting this, going, oh, we come from different worlds. This isn't a men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing. This is a... You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I was born having to share a plastic spoon. No offense, not saying it's your fault or anything, but...
I got a wooden spoon. My dad made it himself.
Yeah, but your wooden spoon was lovingly hand-carved by people who cared about you and wanted your best for you. My silver spoon was shoved into my mouth by a maid who barely spoke English.
Yeah, my dad really liked making spoons.
I was told from a young age I was allowed to kick and swear at them, and when I awakened I was allowed to use my magic on them. And then, he curls back into balls.
Sunshine is properly doing, horrified face at that. I mean... wow! Your dad was even worse than mine!
Mum said that trogs couldn't really feel pain.
I mean, that's true.
Really?
No. That's complete bullshit.
So at that point, like when you say when that's true, Toyger like looks up hopefully, and when you say no, like the crying just starts again.
Huggy, take back the point of edge, you bitch. The spirit is just sat there, just eating whatever it is he's pulled out the fridge this time.
Huggy will wander over and just start, sharing whatever the spirit has pulled out. Figuring at this point it's a fair game.
It appears he's now started in on like some binding materials or something, and you have this moment of, are those moose feet?
I think that is what the moose feet taste like. Should I taste them? Probably not. It's probably
Crunch.
a bad idea to taste moose feet, but what the moose feet taste like? Crunch. Wow. Like feet. Well, we now know where this
ends.
tunnel ends.
Somewhere along that route, they are probably stopping and taking the stuff.
Do we want to try and get into that tunnel from the other end?
That probably means breaking through walls, tunnels, security, and then getting lost.
So we still think that the going into the waterfront is a better idea?
I think we hit the docks.
Roll me a memory check there, Mav.
Aye aye. 3 hits.
Yeah, as you talk about getting lost, wandering around tunnels, you just remember what I think it was Huggy found out about there being ghoul communities down there, amongst other things.
Yeah, do you want to meet ghouls today? Because I don't want to meet ghouls today.
Depends how civilized they are.
There's also rumours of a Zunukwa down under New York somewhere.
Being a troll
I'm pretty sure that not.
with one of the HMV.
A Zunukwa is a troll who's contracted a variant of HMHVV1, the vampiric virus. They are notoriously dangerous. They rarely retain sentience and are extraordinarily violent.
Well, I mean, worst comes to worst, you get 2 of them.
Are you trying to encourage us to go into this tunnel or discourage us? Because
I'm just giving you information.
I was referring to Huggy.
I mean, we want to spend as little time down there as possible. But we also want to get down there and then back up again. I came up with a very brief plan earlier today when I was looking over this place, which is we send somebody in dressed up as a drone maintenance person, because the entrance is in a drone maintenance area, and then they let whoever is going down with the group in, and then we try to get back out the same way after we've set the explosives.
We have exactly one member of this team who could pretend to be a maintenance tech at a Yak-controlled facility, and he doesn't know dreck about drones.
They're probably hiring. That's true. We should probably check whether or not.
Do you think
they are...
Toyger can pass as a drone technician?
Oh God, no.
Right, then this plan isn't gonna work.
I'm sorry, guys.
Unless the people who work the docks aren't hired directly by the Yaks, and they hire metahumans.
They're hired by the security company.
But not security people, the drone maintenance people, the people who maintain the forklifts.
From what you know, the pier is owned and operated by a subsidiary of Mitsuhama.
Yeah, we did know that, so they're not.
The security is outsourced to a Yakuza-fronted
No, the
company.
security was outsourced. Yeah.
But the pier itself, and therefore probably the technicians, are Mitsuhama.
Rid, I'm doing a whisper to GM knowledge roll here.
Alrighty.
Based on that knowledge roll with 3 hits, do I Does that tell me anything either way?
It tells you that people who are meta that are employed there might get hassled a little bit by the security, but they're not employed by them, so it's not really their business, but they might have to put up with a bit of bulldrack.
Right.
They get selected for random checks more often than statistically likely.
Yeah.
Or just general harassment.
Yeah. Okay.
The T word probably gets thrown around a fair bit.
What's the perimeter of this place like?
In what respect?
Does it have walls, fences, gates?
From what Toyger and Sunshine saw, I'm not going to make you roll for this because it's a fence, obvious. It's a chain link fence topped with razor wire, and along the razor wire it's electrified as well.
Gatehouses?
If you try and go over it,
We'll have a bad time.
you'll get shredded and shocked, but it's not too hard to go through it. And there is a checkpoint at the northern end and a checkpoint at the southern end.
There looks like there's a gateway at the Manhattan Beer Brooklyn warehouse marker.
There is indeed. So, as I say, there is an entrance in the northern section.
Is there another one at the south?
Yeah, you can just see the first.
Oh yeah, you can see
of
the building of it
building.
right at the...
Yeah. So, in the south, there is indeed a checkpoint. It's a weird checkpoint because it's an entrance for both this pier and the pier next door. So, depending if you're going on north or south, depends on who you talk to. If you're going into the Seda Krupp warehouse just south of it, you have to talk to them. If you're going north, you talk to the MCT or Yakuza guys.
Okay, so we're going in from the north because nowhere are we accidentally fucking with SK.
No.
We're already fucking with the Yakuza.
And Metsu.
Yeah.
Is there any... Okay, two ideas. One is, could we just go late at night and cut a hole in the fence and sneak in?
The classics never fail.
I mean, yeah.
Possibly.
Option number two, could we get a really quiet boat? Like a paddle thing? I don't know, I'm from Denver.
I do in fact know a port smuggler.
I was going to suggest water spirits.
Because there's no checkpoint on the water side.
There are, like, dockside dock walls.
Oh, I should have mentioned previously, Huggy, from your overfly, you did see drones out over the water, but there's ways and means of dealing with that.
Yeah.
The other thing is the fence runs along quite a large, busy road.
Yeah.
So it's quite well lit. There's a lot of traffic there.
Yeah, looking at that on the Google map, that is a major...
Yeah. Okay.
That's not going to be quiet even at night.
Okay, so we'll get spotted doing that. But what about boat?
Boat is an option.
Boat gives us the fewest physical barriers. But we then have the problem, again, of getting away.
Well, your spirit told us...
But okay, we know the tunnel goes to...
the station, it also has ladders up to manholes.
I thought we didn't want to be wandering around in the dark. That's a genuine point, is that... Because if you're going to try and make our way out through a random manhole cover...
Could we then take a boat in, get inside the warehouse, find the entrance to the tunnel, plant a bomb on it, steal the drugs from the warehouse, put them in the boat, sail away, blow up the bomb. That collapses the tunnel. That's the method.
Do the Oyabun's notes say anything about how the drugs are handled? what happens after they're shipped in. The drugs are shipped into this pier. At some point, they are removed from this shipment. They are dropped down a hole into a train track and taken somewhere. Do the Oiban's notes tell us anything about that process?
Basically, it's boxes or crates that are within larger shipping containers. They take them out of the shipping container, put them on the lift, goes down, they put it onto a little electric cargo train, and it doesn't really say anything after that. It just says they are taken to the safe house. That's it.
Does it say if that process is done immediately on arrival or any other time?
What he's got is fairly high level stuff. It's not going into nuts and bolts.
Why is this guy not a complete control freak? We make our job so much easier.
You're just getting like the management overview, effectively.
So Toyger sort of just like peeks out from like his huddled ball of sand. It's like, this isn't exercising good management practice. Even the upper management should be aware of standard SOPs for manufacture and transport of goods. And then like he sort of looks out glumly, like he's sad he remembered that.
Your parents really did a number on you. You know that. Anyway.
Toyger. Okay. Are you a sinner?
Not anymore.
Okay, good. Because if you were, I probably shouldn't be running with you. Secondly, I know this not being a sinner makes healthcare a complete pain in the ass, but you should probably see a therapist.
Ake just looks at Sunshine with complete disbelief and like, what? You think that any of us can afford a therapist?
I mean, we make pretty good money doing this.
Yeah, but... Okay, so do any of you know a therapist that doesn't work for one of the corps?
I mean, Horizon have just released a new series of SimSense chips that are meant to help out with this kind of thing.
I got bombed out my skull on sake once and told Mrs. Kyoto all of this between bouts of intense crying. Does that count?
Yeah, that's probably as good therapy as any of us are ever going to get.
Super.
Probably?
Most of the quote-unquote therapy that she provided was in the form of more sake and a little bit of bliss.
Toyger on bliss.
She's a devout Buddhist. She's a follower of Pariti, the goddess of compassion and the mother of 1,000 young. She's got strong mum energy.
I thought that was the black goat of the woods.
No, she's the ogress who stole children from their beds, and then the Buddha nicked one of them, and then she got so sad she became enlightened. She converted like 3 rooms on the 6th floor into a shrine. There's trees and everything. It's amazing. But yeah, you were saying about boats and trees and stuff, like water spirits. The one I summoned at the dock fucking hated that place. If we tell them we're going in to do damage to it, they'll probably do it for free.
You mean that guy over there who's currently eating the moose things?
He just waves at you.
He's a spirit of man. They're contrary and petty and...
like eating moose feet.
Entirely too human.
He shrugs and just kind of nods his head from side to side in the universal gesture of, yeah.
It's always spirit of man. It's never spirit of woman.
Yeah, who's your to name these spells?
Probably men. I summoned a spirit of woman once. It's how I found out I was asexual.
That's fair. I mean...
We're learning a lot about you today, Toyger.
But yeah, spirits of water, they're nosy little shits and they're deeply inquisitive. Like, if we tell that there are secrets in that warehouse, they would rip the door off its hinges to get in. And if we're using boats, I could even ask it to try and like muffle our entrance a little bit, like still wakes and things.
Right, the problem is the boats thing. It's really, really, really easy to see a boat on the water.
Not if I make it invisible.
No, that would, but that you can still see the wake of the boat.
Not if the spirits dampen it for us.
That's true. I mean, if that's that's a way around this.
Welcome to the 6th world, Shower.
Broken into a dock on a small boat before. It wasn't fun, but it worked. We got in and out without being spotted.
I mean, has anyone got any better ideas?
Was it a yak-controlled dock? Were you planning to explode the dock after you left?
No and no. Was it
Roll a memory check, please, Maverick.
on it? 2 hits.
You think it might have been Triad?
As far as I'm aware, it was Union controlled when we were there.
Yeah, it was under a mix of gang, Triad, and soon-to-be NYPD Inc. beatdowns, as they sent in the Union Busters.
Mav, did you do a Pinkerton job?
What's a Pinkerton job? What's a Pinkerton?
The Pinkertons, they were like this kind of corpse set back in oldie times that whenever workers were getting rowdy, they'd go and like shoot union reps and stuff.
Oh god, no. No, we liberated some cargo.
Okay.
Smelliest cargo I've ever liberated.
I both want to know what was going on and really, really don't.
Correct answer.
So, you think it's possible to get into this place by water? I have very little experience with water, as the closest I have is the last job we did.
Every time you say Pinkerton, the spirit of man spits on the ground, and where the spit is, there's like barnacles growing.
Also, the lino's fizzing and hissing.
You're losing more of your deposit every second we keep the spirit here.
You think Toyger played a deposit?
You think that if he'd had paid a deposit, he was ever getting it back?
Fair points, both.
That money is gone. So, there's a couple of problems. One is that this is an active dock, so there may well be people coming in and out even at night. Another is that the place that we want to get to is down at the...
It's next to one of the docks.
Yeah, but we would be trying to get all the way down past the ships.
Yes, that's bad.
That's past Mitsu and the
SK.
SK. And they are both going to shoot first and ask questions later, if they can think of questions. The main questions will be how the fuck did they get there and how do we stop them from doing it again, or anybody else from doing it again. So, if we're going by water, we're probably getting off at the end of the pier.
And walking the length of the pier or the warehouse.
Yeah.
With the attendant risk of being caught.
Yeah.
Or we go in from land.
With the attendant risk of being caught.
I mean, we've not managed to find the other end of that tunnel.
No, I think we have to go in from this end.
Well, we know where the ultimate other end of that tunnel is.
They're probably not using the whole tunnel.
Yeah, if we want to try and walk the length or drive, we could get the van down there somehow. The length of the tunnel.
I mean, there's a cargo lift.
Ooh, that'll be fun to try.
That's not the worst thing you've ever said, Huggy.
What? What do you want
There's
to try
a
and get
cargo lift.
There's a cargo lift at one end. We know there's a cargo lift at this end.
Unless the safe house is underground, which it might be, there's a cargo lift at the other.
Or they just take the trucks up in boxes on string.
If we may drive the truck, we might drive the van down that tunnel and never ever get it back.
I mean, we could just drive the van around the tunnel until we find the, what was it called again? The troll thing. And then I get to live forever and eat the rest of you.
You wouldn't be eating us, you'd be draining our blood and life force and ripping us limb from limb.
I'm certainly eating parts of you.
I saw one in a cage once. They were cutting bits off it and seeing how quick it took them to grow back.
Yes.
Fine.
Zunukwa, they consume essence. So you know that bit in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where he drinks from the wrong cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that to people.
Ugh.
Ooh.
It could be worse. It could be the part in Ark of the Covenant.
Well, I barely have much essence be nicked anyway, so...
Yeah, that's a problem, Huggy. That means you're closer to death than the rest of us.
Also means I'm less tasty.
This is not a conversation I was expecting to have tonight.
I mean, you've always got to expect to have weird conversations when you're having conversations with us.
True.
Anyway.
Anyway.
The water has its problems, the land has its problems. We got to work out which of those problems we are best equipped to deal with.
Water, I think, has the better but not particularly good chance of us getting in undetected.
The other thing is, if we do get detected, so as we haven't got out of the boat yet, we can always abort and just sail away.
Assuming we're not so far up the dock channel that they shoot us.
Also, it's a boat with a hole in it moves a lot slower than a van with a hole in it.
Depends where the hole is.
True.
A van with a hole in the side is a lot less in trouble than a boat with a hole in the side. Also, there are 4 of us and hopefully some drones. Last time I went somewhere by boat, there were 3 of us, no drones.
There's also spirits.
They don't take up space in a boat.
I would not be in the boat. Unless we can rig up a boat so I can hot sim. In order to be the best rigger I can be, I need to be able to hot sim.
We're not rigger adapting a boat, that's far too much
No.
work.
But also that would cost way too much.
Yep.
But
Can we pay I don't know, what do you call them, a water coyote to just drop us off and pick us up again?
I know one. I've worked with a skimmer when we did the other hit on the other dock. His boat wasn't big enough for all of us.
But he might know someone
He
who's
might
got
know
a big
someone.
enough boat. Want to give him a ring?
also, it doesn't need to be. I can just have the drones set up nearby, or I can send Hansel and Gretel with you and park up somewhere near the docks. I am a better rigger if I'm in Gretel's mother than if I'm off on my own. Because then I can hot sim, and I can hot sim somewhere where me falling unconscious isn't a problem. So we have the start of a plan.
I still think going in by the water is a silly plan. I think we should go in by land.
Wasn't you the one who said we should go in by water?
I said we could.
Okay, why?
Because we're all used to working on land. It doesn't involve being in a small boat being looked for by people. It means we can drive the van into the warehouse.
What's your plan? Smash it through the front security checkpoint?
You guys saw the security on this place. It's light. They're relying on response from an organization that, need I remind you, was recently damaged.
That's true. The security personnel are paid by the yaks, aren't they? They are front for the yaks.
That may or may not affect their funding chain.
That may or may not affect where their personnel end up going.
Indeed.
Rid, based on that previous hidden role, would I know anything about... Like, is Tora a actual private limited company?
It is an actual private limited company. However, it is owned by that Yakuza clan, who use it as a front. Based on your role and your knowledge of Yakuza and organised crime in general, they're likely to be having a lot of disruption right now. There's probably some internal power struggles going on, but it would depend on the organisation and whether there was like a tipped successor or something like that. They may well be relatively stable and just trying to present a unified front to keep the circling sharks at bay.
The other thing is that the defense of this warehouse comes under a standard operating procedure. So even if the boss is absent,
the immediate response, provided that response is still in place, will go off as planned.
Yeah.
Unless it's been declared as less important than responding to something else.
I'm just gonna remind you guys, there are other ways to get in other than the sneaky sneaks and the shooty bangs.
Social engineering, which we're not hugely adept at.
That's more Luna's team's thing. Social engineering.
Indeed.
There's the shooty shoots, there's the sneaky sneaks, there's the social engineering, there's water, there's land, and there's air. We can't really do air or water well in this team, which means
We can't do either of them internally.
Yeah.
I mean, we could swim, but that's a bad idea. I ain't swimming in that water.
We've driven about before. Twice now.
And that went brilliantly.
Yes, it did.
It did, actually.
It went absolutely perfectly.
You go swimming in that water, you'll come out with extra limbs. And I can fly.
Can you fly the entire team in?
Probably not.
Right, so we can't fly as a team.
If we just do a halo drop on the top of the facility.
Do you have access to a T-bird with 4 Halo jumpsuits?
Yeah, sure, easy.
We'll just dust off an LZ and drop in, and Charlie will have no idea.
Raid of the Valkyries intensifies.
Sorry, carry on.
Could we... No, we've not got enough humans in the party. I was going to suggest, can we steal a couple of guard uniforms? That's another... the good old-fashioned,
The easiest way to do it is to steal because the guards will know each other as well.
Yeah.
Small business, it's a small enterprise. So they won't know the workers. The workers probably don't all know each other. I think it's easier to go in as workers.
If we're going to do that, it should be as outsider contractors.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because then nobody knows us. But we turn up with a work order which is magically in their system.
We turn up with a work order and a van with a insignia on it.
Yep.
A couple of drones already inside, so you know that it's a legit drone van.
That relies on us being able to hack a work order into their system, Sunshine.
But that can happen in advance. We know that can be our plan A, and then we can have a plan B of either the shooty bangs or... Plan A is we fabricate work order. Plan B we go in quietly. Plan C we go in shooty bangs. There's lots of... we don't have to have just one plan.
Plan B. Plan Bullet.
Plan C4.
That's part of all of the plans.
In any case, I think that
I do know another Decker. You guys haven't met him yet. Never met him in Meat Space. Only ever met him on deepest, darkest bits of the
How much is it going
Shadowlands.
to cost us?
I don't know what Tin Hat's prices are, but I might be able to get some decking help, is my point. But you might have to deal with his eccentricities.
Decker personality, noted.
Yeah.
Is he worse than Rick's?
Who's Rex?
The Decker on my girlfriend's team. Different kind of bad. This is less
Foul.
less offensively foul, more... Oh, God. Tin Hat, why do you believe this, Drek?
Oh, one of those ones. There's a dragon on the moon, that sort of stuff.
There's a dragon on the moon. Sadakroot put it there. Then
I'm sure that a dragon could fly to the moon if it wanted to. A greater dragon.
Probably could.
Last time you spoke to him, Sunshine, he was going on about bones on Mars.
yeah, and he has this whole thing about the corporate court and the Vitas plague and the immunization program in the 2030s. And, oh my, Like it's mile a minute bull drag with this guy of just like by the time he managed to get a word in Edgeway, he's managed to come out with 5 more bits of crackpot bull drag.
Well, I just turn my English off and then, listen to him in German. That seems generally solves the problem.
You can do that?
I mean, I have to actively understand English. Like, when you talk to me, I have to translate that into German. So I just stopped doing that.
Must be nice sometimes.
Is this the nutter who thought the Great Pyramid of Giza was the base of the Tower of Babel, and that the reason the Grand Canyon was shaped that way was because it had been struck by lightning by God? Like, specifically, the white god of the Christians had done this.
Yeah. You remember I mentioned him a couple of times. Like, he's exhausting to be on Shadowlands with.
If his help isn't too expensive, and hopefully hacking in a work order isn't a big ask, then that's probably our best bet.
Yeah.
We turn up with some coveralls and a logo on Huggy's van.
Last time I spoke to Tin Hat, he was convinced I wasn't actually a woman. No, I was like, that I was a bloke with a virtual avatar.
I mean,
That is by far the most normal thing he believes.
yeah, believing that women on the Matrix are men is just...
That's pretty much standard.
Yeah.
You think that would have died out at the end of the Fifth World? But fun fact, no.
The
Sexism
Matrix.
never dies, sunshine.
The Matrix, where the men are men and the women are also men.
The 2 women who regularly use the Matrix are just staring at you right now. I can at least find out what he might charge.
Yeah, it's always worth it.
But yeah, apologies in advance if he gets your comlink details and starts sending you his stuff.
That's what the block button is for.
That's what we're setting him up with the automatic updates from my home system for.
You bad woman.
If he really wants to find out that it's 6 o'clock in the morning in Saudi Arabia, he's welcome to.
Thank you for spending some time with us and listening to the Pride Against Prejudice podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show and look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time for our next episode. In the meantime, well, we broke the Sherman. Suboptimal to say the least. Have you ever had a teammate break like this? Let us know on our Discord. Intro is More Human Than Human by Carl Casey, and the background music is also by Carl Casey. Outro music is Neon Thrills by Luck Hash, and all sound effects are credited in the show notes. The Tops Company Inc. has granted permission to the Pride Against Prejudice podcast to use such names, logos, artwork, marks, and or any other proprietary material for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with the Pride Against Prejudice podcast in any official capacity whatsoever. All other works mentioned in this podcast remain the property of their respective owners. The Pride Against Prejudice podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. So if you want to use any part of the show, please give us the credit. See you next time, chummers.